also wonder what will the system will do when they see the statements like select from where. Actually, once the system have a core input like the select from where, they will do actually is to begin with the relation in the from clause. This from clause indicating the table we're working on, right? So we'll begin with the relation in the from clause, and then we can apply the selection indicated by the where clause. I mean the conditions we have. So based on the condition we have, we can go over all the rows, check one by one to see if the condition can hold or not. And then we can apply the extended projection indicated by the select clause, and to return the desired attributes true as a result for the query. So the semantics for this select from where these statements will be like to implement the algorithm thinking of this tuple variable ranging over all the tuples of the relation mentioned in the where clause. And we can also check if the current tuple satisfies the where clause or not. And if so, then we can compute the attributes or expressions of the select clause using the components of the tuples. You can implement these statements by the C++ or Java as well. However, it will be fine. It will be very complicated if we write the same thing with the C++ or Java. We need to handle all the details very carefully. However, with SQL, we can do this kind of queries very easily. Just write down select from where, right? And select from where the example we showed before is just one example. Actually, sometimes we don't need to select some attributes. We just want to return all the attributes. If so, then we can use a star in the select clause. What does this mean? When there is one relation in the from clause, the star in the select clause stands for all the attributes of that relation. Right? So we can have an example by using the beers we used before. Right? We can select star from beers where manufacturer equals to Bush, and the return result will be like this. It will be a table, right? And in this table we have two attributes because we select star here. Star means all the attributes, right? In other words, from beers we project all the attributes in the beers table, then manufacturer in the return result. We have name, manufacturer here, right? And we have a condition, is manufacturer equals to Bush, and you can find in the return result for each tuple, the manufacturer always equals to Bush. Right? So we can use the star in this way by project all the attributes. I think you can also write down the query in the select from where statements using the relational algebra as well. And again, you can compare them with each other. You will find this star can be very helpful and very useful as well. Before in the relational algebra we mentioned we can have a function, it is called renaming, right? Renaming both the relation and attributes. And we will implement that in the SQL as well. So we can rename some attributes. The way we do the renaming is like this. If we plan to the result have a different attribute names, then we can use this as followed by a new name for the attributes to rename an attribute. And we show an example on this renaming as follows. We are still working on the beers this table with name and manufacturer. We plan to change the name to beers instead. In other words, we can rewrite this SQL query we showed before as select name as beer. This means we change the name to beer instead in the return result, and comma manufacturer. In other words, we select two attributes in this statements, both the name or the beer and the manufacturer. From beers, where the manufacturer equals to Bush. So by executing this query like this, we will have the result showing at the bottom. We will have a table, right? First of all, the return result is a table. In the table, we have two attributes. The first one is beer, because we change the name to beer in this statement, right? The second one we have is a manufacturer. And for all the tuples in the table, the manufacturer equals to Bush because it is a condition, right? So we can do the renaming of these attributes very easily in the select from where statements. Besides renaming, we can also do some interesting things in the select clause as well. For example, we can use the expression in the select clause. What does this mean? Actually, any expression that makes sense can appear as an element in select clause. Here we use the example on the sales table with bar, B, and price. It means the bar shared B with some price. And we plan to write a query to find the bar, B, and price. And here we change the price from USD to the Japanese yen instead. We can do so by writing a select from where clause like this. Select bar, beer, price times 120 as price in yen from sales. Here we finish. We don't have a where clause. So by executing query like this, we're working the sales table and we'll return the same table. The main difference in the return result compared with the sales table is we change the last attribute from price to price in yen. This price we used before is USD, right? I mean US dollars, and the price in yen is Japanese yen. And we'll make some changes to price values. We times this price with 120, which is the exchange rate between USD and the Japanese yen. So in the return result, the table is almost the same as the sales table. However, we change the last column. We change both the attribute name as well as the values of all the data tuples. Here another difference is that we don't have a where clause. In other words, we don't have any condition for selections. We will return all the data tuples in the table. And I hope you can follow me right for this example.